What's going on, everyone? I hope you are well. I'm doing fantastic. It's a little bit cooler day in North Carolina, so taking that opportunity to get out on the Citizen bike, go for a ride, do a video for you. I really, on this channel, if you notice, but I really try to be an information provider about e-bikes so people can make better buying decisions and know what to look for. And that's what the video today is going to be about. I did one a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, called e-bike disappointments, where I asked people to comment and tell me what didn't they like about their e-bike. You know, you can't really try these bikes before you buy them. You just have to buy one and get it shipped to you, and when it shows up, you know, what didn't you expect? What didn't you like about it? And I wanted to get a good amount of comments. I got a pretty good amount. There's like almost 400 comments there. And I really wanted to know what people were surprised about. What didn't they like about the e-bike after it showed up? For a couple reasons. I was hoping maybe the companies would also see and read the comments so they know. But I also wanted that for myself so I would know what to look for, what to tell you guys about in videos, maybe help you. I know the people watching this probably have fallen down a rabbit hole of information on YouTube trying to figure out what e-bike to buy. So maybe this video will help you. I'm going to give you the top 5 complaints that I saw from those comments. I read every single comment and broke them out into categories. And there were 5 that really stood out, head and shoulders above all the other complaints. There were 5 things that people really didn't like about the bike. So I'm going to tell you those 5, and I'm also going to try to give you some solutions to those 5. I don't want this to be a complaint video. I want this to be a helpful video. So as we go through, I'm going to try to tell you, I guess, a possible solution or a way to combat that complaint. So, and then at the end, I'm going to give you one very important bonus one that a couple people brought up, but it really needs to be, I think, brought out in this video of one very important thing you need to know if you're going to buy one of these fat tire e-bikes. This is my custom build here. I'll put the link to all the parts and pieces in the comments, but this thing's crazy. Dual 750 motors, dual batteries, 37 miles an hour, my own custom build. Love it. Nothing's beat it yet, but let's get into it here and I'll tell you what to look for about these bikes. All right, we're out rolling on the all-wheel drive Citizen bike. We got our display screen controlling the front system. This one controls the rear system. 2 independent systems here. I got the front throttle here and the rear throttle over here. This thing's quite the experience, but I love it. It's just perfect for me, custom built for me. But that's not why you're here. You're here to find out what people weren't expecting about their e-bike, right? What complaints they had after they received it, and I wish they knew going in before they bought it. So I'm going to tell you those. The way I did it was I went back to that video about the disappointments and I read through the comments and just started, writing down categories. I probably came up with 15, 20 or so categories that came up, and just put a little tick mark next to the category every time someone complained about that, and read through every single comment. And at the end, there were 5 categories that really stood out, that had the most complaints. And out of those 5, there were 3 that were kind of clustered together that had about the same amount of complaints. Those 3, here we go. So one of them was build quality. Something about the bike, something about the manufacturer of the bike just wasn't right. The way the battery plugged in, or there's a bolt sticking out somewhere, or this piece was bent or damaged or broken, or they didn't like something about how the bike was built. So build quality was a category that stood out. And I promised I would try to give some solutions to this. A lot of that has to do with shipping, where it gets damaged in shipping. But there are some bikes where you can tell that the build quality just isn't the same. The wires aren't routed and wrapped nicely, and something about the design's a little wonky or whatever. Here's the companies that I've seen and bikes that I've been on and physically seen and ridden that have what I'd say a little bit higher build quality. Okay, there's several of them that were noticeably good build quality. Bike Tricks was one. That bike, I have a Bike Tricks Stunner X. That bike had really good build quality to it. Aerial Rider's bikes, very, very nice build quality on that X-Class bike that I've got. The Fabulous bikes, I've had a couple of those. Good build quality there. The Electric Bike Company, that was probably one of the best. That was a very, very nice build quality on that Model E bike they sent from Electric Bike Company. And U-Free, the U-Free City Robin that I rode, that was a very nice build quality on that bike. It was very sharp looking, put together nicely. It doesn't surprise me there. That company is really you know, they've made several versions of that City Robin bike, and they just keep fine-tuning it based on customer comments. So that bike was a good build quality. There's a few to add to your list, okay? I don't work for these places. They don't commission me. You buy whatever you want. You do your own research, make your own decisions, but there's a couple that I've seen that were better build quality than a lot of the rest. Now, the next complaint of that cluster of 3 there was the battery life. Battery life, range, you know, quite a few comments about the battery wasn't as big as they wanted it to be. The range wasn't what the company claimed on their website. They have just range anxiety in general. You know, they're looking for a bigger battery pack or be able to ride power throttle only longer than you know, what they actually got in real life. Battery life was a pretty solid complaint in there. How do you remedy that? Here's what I'm going to tell you there. Get a big battery from the start. Find a company that offers a large battery pack. 20 amp hour is a big battery pack. Look for something 20 amp hour. That's a pretty good sized battery pack. You're going to get a good range out of that. And because it is a lot harder to do it after the fact. You know, you're going to, if you want to just buy an extra battery pack to swap them in, you're going to spend like $600-700 buying an extra battery pack. Just get a big battery right from the get-go. That's my suggestion to you there. I've added, like this bike, I've added an extra battery pack to this bike because I need something to run each motor. And I'll show you how I did it. But if you get into the point where you're trying to add extra battery capacity to a bike, you're gonna have to start learning how to do stuff. Like, oh, see how this, I've got this battery pack in my rear pack. 8 amp hours, this is what runs my front motor. And I've got it wired up with an XT90 connector. I've had to do all this wiring and this soldering and everything myself. If you're not willing to do that, it's going to be very hard for you to add extra battery capacity to a bike. I've got about 25 amp hours on this bike because that's 8 and this is 17 and a half, I think. So I've got some good capacity, but I'm also eating through it like crazy because this is 35 amp controllers on it, to double motors, but get a battery big from the start. So do your research there. Companies that offer big batteries, I know there's a couple out there that offer like a dual battery setup on the bike. I want to say Bike Tricks has the duo thing that's got double batteries, which is a lot of capacity. Fabulous e-bikes. Fabulous has some huge battery packs on their bike. The EMX Extreme bike that I have, that has a 28 amp hour battery pack on it. Their Road Warrior they offer, I believe, has like a 29 amp hour battery pack that's an option. So check out, put Fabulous on your list. Fabulous e-bikes if you want really large battery capacities, because they offer some really big batteries. So, you know, again, I don't get anything if you buy one. You buy whatever you want. I'm just saying add that to your list to look. And if you're concerned about range and battery, get a big battery from the get-go. Don't try to add it after the fact. All right, the third thing in that cluster of 3 was accessibility. So that's things like, I can't get my feet down on the ground, it's too tall. I can't swing my leg over the rear rack, it's too tall. The step through height is higher than I thought it was going to be. I can't step through the bike. Something about the person just being too, you know, physically small or limited mobility issues that didn't allow them to ride the bike comfortably. The bike just wasn't accessible, which is something I hear a ton. I don't know how many times I've heard that, where the bike shows up and it's way bigger than they expected. And I've tried to highlight that as much as I possibly can on this channel. These bikes are enormous. Fat tire bikes are huge. It's not a bicycle. It's not a regular bicycle. It is a Goliath of bicycles. If you're 5'7", I'm not gonna say that you should go get a 26x4 fat tire. You're gonna struggle with it unless you're, you know, athletic and confident on a big bike. But most people, like my wife's 5'3", she won't ride the 26x4 fat tire bikes. There's a couple she can get on, and she'll ride it around and let me take a video of it, but she will not ride it on a ride somewhere. Never. She's not comfortable at all. She can't handle it. It's too big. So I've heard that countless times, where people get these bikes and they're just way, way bigger than they thought. I don't know how else to tell you. Yeah. You got to see one in person, I guess, for it to sink into your brain. It's enormous. And people say all the time, you know, the 20x4 fat tires, you know, those are kids' bikes, right? Absolutely not. A 20x4 fat tire bike, like the Komodo bike or the Rad Mini or the EMX Extreme bike I have, or the Electric XP, the list goes on. Those 20x4 fat tire bikes, those are plenty big for a full-grown adult man to ride. I'm 6 feet tall. I can ride those super comfortably. They're plenty big, and they weigh like 70 pounds too. So don't think that 20x4 fat tire bike is meant for a kid. It's not at all. A kid would have a really hard time handling that bike. So accessibility was a big complaint. They just couldn't get on and ride the bike comfortably. So as far as suggestions there, I can't really suggest which bikes are the most accessible. I mean, they're all big. They're all big. Look for bikes that have a low seat height, 30, 31 inches, somewhere in there. If you get a bike that's got a seat height that low, which is pretty rare, it's probably going to be easy to get on the bike and ride. But if you can, find someone that has one, go see it in person. I guess that's my suggestion. Find one to see in person so you know how big they are. I feel like I'm just harping on this, but you don't want to spend $2,000 on a bike and it shows up and you just can't even get on it because it's too huge. They're massive. Just know that. These bikes are huge. There you go. Accessibility, battery life, and build quality were those three that were kind of clustered together. The next level up, most complaints, was power. You know, the bike didn't have enough power to do what they needed to do. It couldn't help them climb the hill enough. It ran out of juice. They couldn't get up the hill. People are buying these bikes. This is all my opinion, okay? But I know my channel, the people that watch this are 45 plus, you know, that kind of retirement crowd. That's who's really buying these. People aren't really buying them, I don't think, the fat tire bikes anyway, to commute to work. I mean, don't kid yourself. That's not why people get these bikes. It's not this whole green initiative to save on gas. And no, people are buying these to do what I'm doing right now. This is exactly why you buy it. You go out and you ride bike paths and greenways and you enjoy the world around you and you get away from your cell phone and Netflix. You get out of the house, right? That's what I think anyway. So the people that are buying these bikes, they want enough power that the bike will do the work for them. When they come to a big steep hill, they want the bike to take all of that effort out and just help them go up the hill with ease, so they're not breaking a sweat, their legs aren't on fire, they're not, you know, out of breath completely. You know, maybe they even have health issues where they can't be out of breath completely, or they don't have the mobility to pedal really hard. So that's why people buy these. They want a bike with enough power to make the bike ride easy and enjoyable. So how do you find the bike with the power you need? Most of the bikes are 750 watt because that's kind of the legal limit, whatever, in the US, but a lot of the companies don't follow that. So what they do is they'll say, okay, it's a 750 motor, but it peaks higher. It peaks at 1100, 1200, 1300, whatever. That's what you want to look for. Research to find the ones that peak over 1,000 watts. Bikes like Aerial Rider that have a 1,000 watt motor peaks at 2,000 watts. That thing crushes hills. Anything with a peak over like 1,200 is going to really do great on the hills for you and have that power. I mean, that came up as a very common complaint. It was like the second highest. That's enough on that one. The last one, the most common complaint, number one, you know, there was those three at the bottom, and then there was power, and then there was another one that was another head and shoulders above all the rest. And that complaint was weight. The bike is heavy. It's way heavier than they thought it was going to be. And I have tried to beat this horse to death about weight on this channel. I bring it up in every single video and I harp on it because these bikes are so heavy. They're heavy. This is not a regular bike. I can't stress it enough. It's not your store-bought Huffy Walmart, you know, mountain bike. These are heavy. These bikes are really heavy duty. They're made out of aluminum, but that doesn't mean that they're super lightweight. Let me get this in the sun so you can see it. This was a rad bike that I modified, right? But this frame is really, I mean, it's a heavy duty frame on this thing. And these bikes are massive. They weigh, almost all of them weigh 70 pounds or greater. This one, with all the stuff I've added to it, weighs about 90 right now. So I try to cover the bike's weight in every video that I do, so people know how much they weigh. That was number one, head and shoulders above any other complaint, was the weight of the bike. It's too heavy for them to lift. It's too heavy for them to handle. Too heavy to take up a flight of stairs or lift in their car. They're all heavy. They're all 70 plus pounds. I've gotten bikes sent to me that were 85, 90, even close to 100 pounds. I have a bike that's close to 100 pounds. The Be Cool Challenger was like 100 pounds. The bike I just did, ZM from G-Force, that bike weighed like 90 something, 92 I think. The Hemiway Escape weighs 92 pounds. A lot of them are, 80 plus pounds. So you gotta take that into consideration. Your average like regular mountain bike's probably gonna weigh 30, 40 pounds. These are more than double that weight. I think it's just hilarious when people think, oh, I'm just gonna go buy this 20x4 folding bike and I'll just, I'll throw it in the back of my RAV4 and take it to the bike trail. And then they get it and they fold it and it's 75 pounds of awkward weight they're trying to lift off the ground into the back of their SUV. And it's about impossible. I hope that people really take that to heart and think about, can they move around? I mean, that's even before you add accessories. You're gonna add phone holders and water bottle holders and rear racks and packs on it. I mean, you're gonna be at 80 pounds on a bike real quick. So can you handle an 80-pound bike? Now, as far as how to combat this, I don't know. I can't really name a whole lot of e-bikes that are lightweight. I think the lightest weight one I ever got might have been the U-Free City Robin. I think that bike weighed about 61 pounds. It was very, very lightweight. Very lightweight. It was not fat tire though. 2.125 or whatever on the tire size. So it wasn't a fat tire bike, but it was nice and lightweight. And it was easily accessible because it's a step through. It was just a really good bike, honestly. It's designed well. Good brakes, good power, accessible. The seat height was a little high because of their suspension seat post, but there you go. That's the lightest one I know. There's no sugarcoating that. They're heavy. All of them are heavy. They're all heavy. All right, we'll turn this corner up here and we'll light up the Citizen bike for you a little bit. Just give you a little taste of what we built. Nobody's ever out here on this trail ever. It still had more to go too. Still had room to go. This baby is awesome. All right, now here's a bonus. Here's a bonus thing that came up in the comments a couple times. A couple people said it, and I really want to bring this up because it's important to know. It's one of the most important things to know, actually. I'm surprised it didn't come up more. Well, I'm actually shocked that customer service wasn't number one, honestly. But believe it or not, that was not the number. That wasn't even, customer service wasn't even in the top 5. I was shocked. But here is something I want to bring up that you need to know, and that is that when you buy one of these bikes, the bike shops, the local bike shops, don't want to work on them. So if you have a problem, it's on you. You have got to fix it. Your bike shop is not going to touch this thing probably. Some will, but the majority. I had someone call me the other day and say, what do? I broke my front wheel and I've been to 6 bike shops and they will not fix it. Unfortunately, I didn't have another wheel to give her. I would totally do that if I had an extra wheel. But yet no one would work on it. No one wants to work on these mass manufactured, direct to consumer, built overseas, shipped over in a container, e-bikes. The companies have very limited customer support. They can get you parts. They'll send you a new part if it's under warranty and you broke it, but you have to install it. You have to do the work yourself. That is really important to know. I have learned so much from owning e-bikes in the last 3 or 4 years because I've had to do everything myself. I've bled hydraulic brakes and changed front chain rings and taken apart motors and swapped in new motors and changed I've had to learn all of this stuff about bicycles that I didn't know at all because no one will do it for me. I have to do it myself. So that's important to know. If you get something breaks on your bike, you got to do the work yourself. The bike shop's not gonna fix your e-bike unless it's an e-bike that they specifically sell. If you buy a Trek bike, yeah, the Trek shop's gonna service it, but they're not gonna take your Hemiway and replace the controller for you. So that is extremely important Because most people, I got a feeling, don't know how to do all of this stuff. I mean, all the stuff I've done on this bike has been a complete learning experience. I had to solder up battery connections and stuff. I'd never soldered in my life until about a year ago. So although that didn't come up a whole lot in the comments, it's something that is certainly worth bringing up. You're at, how do I say this? You don't have service support. You might be able to get parts, but you're not going to get the parts installed. You're going to have to do it yourself. Very, very important to know about these bikes. Let's go over here and climb these steep grassy hills with the Citizen bike. We'll just do throttle only. This is like a 10-foot wall right here. No problem. Here's a little 5-footer. No problem. This is like a 20-foot wall right here. Whew, buddy. No problem. This thing will conquer anything. I wish I could find something that would test the limits of this bike. Okay, my friends. I hope you found that helpful as far as what to do about if your bike breaks and you need a part installed and you can't do it yourself. I don't know if I have a suggestion for you there. Learn how to do it. Watch my YouTube videos on how to do all this stuff. I do a whole bunch of videos on replacing parts and pieces on this one, so check those out, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I hope that you found some of this rambling helpful in your quest or your search to find a bike that's going to work for you. Be cautious of the weight, the accessibility. Make sure it's got enough power for you, enough battery capacity, and yeah, good luck, I guess. Good luck. They're fantastic when they work, and it fits you perfectly. They're an amazing, amazing thing that gets you out into this wonderful world. But that's all I got today. So if you like this kind of content, do me a favor, consider hitting subscribe. And yeah, I think that's all I got for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching.